Maybe I'm crazy, but the Heat, we're going to be back, just like Jimmy said.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Thanks for joining us this week. Congrats to the Los Angeles Lakers. No, seriously, I'm not a sore loser. It was an amazing season for the Miami Heat, and I'm happy for Lakers fans. I live here in Los Angeles. Everyone was celebrating, and we'll be back. We're good. We got some stars. We'll be back. But thanks for joining us. We don't have a guest this week, so it's just us hanging out. T is also not with us, so it's just me, myself, and Heller and Donnie. We're going to talk about Dak. Obviously, that super unfortunate injury. What happens now? We will talk about the Miami Heat and the Lakers, and we're going to talk about the losers around the league. Haven't done loser power rankings in a while, but there's some really bad teams out there, so we're going to discuss who's the worst. Young Herb, a.k.a. Justin Herbert, out here balling, and he's got me ready for Tua to get out there, as well as Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a time to bail on him. But let's get started with Wit It or Quit It.
With it or quit it. With it, quit it. What? With it. We about to turn up in this bitch.
What's up, Heller? What's going on in Wit It or Quit It this week?
What's up, Joy? So apparently they finished the NBA season. Is that correct? Because I remember they stopped it, and then
Right.
there was talks of it continuing.
No one watched. So
Okay.
I'm the only person who watched, so I can safely report that the NBA season has finished. There is a champion. It's the LA Lakers. Yeah.
All right. Well, the Warriors weren't there, so this is news to me. But I'm told by you as well. I guess you can also confirm that LeBron James led the Lakers to the 17th championship in franchise history. It's his fourth championship and the fourth time he's won Finals MVP. And he's still writing the final chapters of his book. MJ's GOAT book is already written, though. So I say this to you, Joy. LeBron has surpassed MJ and is the official GOAT. Wit it or quit it.
Quit it, but I have some thoughts. So obviously we knew there was a very good chance LeBron James was going to win this championship, right? Like if you were watching basketball, it was available. It was on the board that LeBron wins another championship.
Yeah.
And he did it in impressive fashion. I mean, they won in 6 against a very good Miami Heat team, and he was dominant. So it's not like he was like being carried by anyone. Like he won Finals MVP for a reason.
Remember that. Yeah.
And I think that I've just come to the conclusion that I'm going to have to share the space, not from a GOAT perspective, because I still believe that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I think that LeBron James is the greatest superstar of all time. And I also think that passes beyond just basketball. Like, I think he is the greatest superstar in all of sports that we've ever had. The way that he conducted himself in this bubble cemented that for me. Not that I didn't already feel this way, because I've said this many times. I think this particular year just kind of put the final stamp on that. And like, no one loves Michael Jordan more than me. Maybe Skip Bayless, but I love Michael Jordan. I worship Michael Jordan. I always have. And for good reason. He is greatness. We all just watched The Last Dance together as if it was happening live. Like he is a superstar of the magnitude that can't even really be expressed. But LeBron James has been in the spotlight since he was 16 years old. He's overcome a childhood that Michael Jordan did not have. Not that that's a knock on Michael Jordan to have a nice childhood, but he did. You know,
real nice.
It is something. It is something. He went straight to the NBA and has been the topic of conversation ever since. And he's the chosen one. He has been in the spotlight his entire adult life and some of his childhood as well. And the way that he has handled himself, the way he has grown up with me, like we are the same age, so with me, but in front of everyone's eyes, become the icon that he has, become the winner that he has, overcome every, time that we've moved the goalposts for what he can't accomplish, or what he's accomplishing is not enough. You know, he's winning in the Eastern Conference. He wouldn't win in the West. Well, he just won in the West. You know, he can't win with 3 superstars. He needs 3 superstars. Well, he just won with 1 other superstar. So he's done everything that's been asked of him. He can't go 6-0 in the finals because he already lost in the finals multiple times. So that is not available to him. To me, he just is unprecedented. Like, to be able to have the career he's had with no scandals. I mean, what is the scandal with LeBron James? That he said publicly that he was leaving Cleveland in a press conference and then donated a bunch of money to Boys and Girls Club?
I got it. It's honestly still his biggest scandal is still the gold Hummer he had senior year of high school.
I forgot about that. So I don't consider that to be part of the narrative.
I can't remember if it was an H2 or an H3, but it was preposterous even then.
I saw a Hummer the other day in Los Angeles. I literally was like, what? A Hummer?
You know what? It must
vehicle.
have been Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I must be, like, I am in the vortex right now. Hummers used to be such a thing, and they are not a thing anymore. I mean, I can't even imagine. I would get rid of a Hummer so fast. Like, the amount of gas that you have. I dated someone who had a Hummer, and I was like, do you just like paying for gas? Is that why you have this car? Because you just like paying for gas? You could drive to the end of the block, and you have half a tank of gas.
Right, but then you got to fill up, and then someone gets to see you in your sweet-ass Hummer filling that thing up with your money. So
the Hummer is a beautiful car, but you can't drive to the end of the block without being out of gas. It's fascinating. Like, you like paying for gas if you have a Hummer.
It's a dumb flex.
It's not smart. There's more cost efficient, very nice vehicles.
Yep.
Anyway, that aside, the decision is still what people hold on to as far as the scandal. And the reality is that wasn't a scandal. It was a bad PR
donation
move,
to a charity.
But he donated a bunch of money to charity, and he publicly dumped Cleveland. Okay, well, Cleveland forgave him, clearly, because he came back and won a championship. So maybe we can give him a mulligan on that one. Yeah. And obviously, the press conference with the Miami Heat, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Listen, the Heat didn't mind that at all. And they went to 4 straight finals and won 2 championships. So for all that talk about how that wasn't a success, who's saying that wasn't a success? Golden State Warriors? Okay. I can talk to Warriors fans about that not being a success. But there's really basically no other organization around the NBA since that time that can really walk to me and have a conversation about was that successful? Because the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't win 2 championships in the time he was there. So keep it moving.
Mm-mm.
Just keep it moving. So that was a success. Now, if you were talking about, that team should have won 4 or 5 championships, just bring it back down to reality, all right? Because you're really disrespecting everyone else in the league when you say that they should just win every single year. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But regardless, LeBron James is just an unbelievable example of what a superstar should be. He's basically scandalous, scandal-less, not scandalous, scandal-less.
Scandalous.
He's a very public family man, and he is a consummate leader. And what he did with the NBA, being the face of the social justice movement in the NBA and really just around the country during a pandemic, while basically ensuring that the NBA season continued, is remarkable. And listen, I know there's lots of dummies out there who are like, that nobody watched the NBA. It's just, we're in a pandemic, guys. Okay?
Yeah.
People do, despite the fact that we are littered with weirdos, still somewhat care about living or dying over the NBA, which I will allow. Yes. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't know anything about NBA, you know nothing about TV ratings. We work for a very large company that does television very, very well, might I add. They pay
real nice
obscene amounts of money to have ratings analyzed and examined and try to figure out what segments work with what time and what's affecting this. You, guy on Twitter, you don't know shit about ratings. You don't know anything. You know nothing. You know less than nothing about TV ratings. You couldn't read, if I gave you a book of ratings, you couldn't read one line of it if your life and your family's life depended on it. I promise you it's that complicated. You do not know about TV ratings. You know what bugs me the most about people with these TV ratings? Just a little aside.
What? Yeah, come on.
It makes me mental. These same people who are like, TV ratings, blah, 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 blah. Go woke, go broke, blah, 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 blah. By the way, no one in the NBA is broke. They're not broke. They're very rich people.
No, not
very
at
rich
all.
You a broke boy, not them.
All one percenters. Okay. All very rich, very wealthy. Okay. Very wealthy. And then they're owned by even more wealthy people, right? Who they have a direct line they can text to. Okay.
Right.
You person on Twitter or Instagram or wherever the hell you occupy with your little platform.
Little.
You think you know why the NBA ratings are down. You think that every time you turn on your television, you are responsible for the ratings. Do you understand that, Heller? Do you understand? You know, you're laughing, so you know how absolutely stupid it is.
Wait a minute. They're not tracking everything I watch on TV for the ratings? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put it in a country accent, but you know what I'm saying.
You don't. Yeah, no, because they have no idea. You don't even know how TV ratings work. If you don't have a Nielsen box in your home, you don't matter. Your ratings don't count. That's not how ratings work. You don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you watch. You could watch 17 hours of your favorite network, of your favorite show, and it's you're just yelling into the sky. You're yelling at a cloud. Because unless you have a Nielsen box in your house, it's not tracking the ratings. That's how little you know about ratings. You don't even know what the I'm talking about. Okay, so you don't know anything about ratings. You haven't affected the ratings by not watching unless you have one of those boxes in your house. And I'm assuming since you're Googling it right now that you just learned today, you were today years old when you learned you don't actually know anything about ratings. You've just been screaming about nothing for all this time. Congratulations, you're dumb. I could have saved you the trouble and just told you were dumb from the beginning, but I had to emphasize it, so now you know. I had to get it off my chest. You started laughing.
These people on FS1 don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to change this channel right now, and they're not going to get my rating.
It's not how it works. Oh, 0%. You affected the ratings 0%. None.
All right.
Okay, calm down.
Let me bring this back to basketball. I think LeBron is the GOAT. I am more impressed overall. Just hear me out. It's close, right? You're talking about a very nuanced discussion, and I don't get to have many of those very often. So I'm going to come in blunt force trauma here and just say I think that 10 basically in a row is more impressive than 3 rest 2 3 again. I know MJ won all of them, but it was a different league. It was a different time. LeBron was going up against, in my opinion, the greatest basketball team of all time and the Warriors. And then they added KD. So no blips on the radar. It's almost corny. It's almost corny and annoying how sharp and on it LeBron is with doing the right thing, saying the right thing, and setting a good example. So kudos to you. Thank you for all of the content that we've been able to make off of you. And now, Joy, unless you have anything else to add, let's move on to another topic.
LeBron is meant for this. He's built for this, and that's why he always does and says the right thing, and why he has the success that he has in all areas of life. Because he was literally meant to be as great as he is, and he has handled it impeccably, much better than the rest of us, which is why we're not LeBron James.
Yep, a chosen one and a man of the people, very rare. Okay, let's get into something that's a little less fun. Injuries are part of sports, especially full contact tackle sports like football. That being said, it was very emotional when Dak Prescott went down on Sunday. Many a Grizzly man had to pretend they had something in their eye. Is there a breeze in here? Something going on? When Dak was carted off after the destruction of his lower leg during a tackle. The surgery was successful, thankfully, and Dak is recovering. I think he's at home now. I think I'm just going to bluff and say, yep, he's at home recovering. Joy, this injury will not hurt Dak Prescott's future earning potential. Win it or quit it. Will not.
I think his earning potential is probably going to stay about the same. So I will say with it.
All right.
So that said, I don't know that he ever was going to get that contract that he was looking for. And if he was, he certainly wasn't going to get it with the Cowboys. So this is a 4 to 6 month injury is what they're saying. So Dak's going to be back. And look, I love Dak. So that killed me. I mean, I'm so sad for him. And to see him crying and carted off the field, I mean, everyone just felt the same way. Like, he's such a good dude. He does everything the right way. He's been impeccable for the Cowboys. And he's just constantly criticized because he is the Dallas Cowboys quarterback and he handles all of it perfectly. Always says the right thing. Great dude. So he deserves everything that's coming to him. And it is coming to him. I just don't think it's coming with the Dallas Cowboys. So whenever he got franchise tagged, it kind of, for me, set the clock ticking on him not being there anymore. So I think he will get franchise tagged again next year because they are saying that they want to keep him and he's the future. And it's not that, so we kind of talk about this like as if Jerry did not offer him a contract. He did. It just wasn't the contract that Dak wanted. Now, I don't know if you talk to Dak today, if he still wishes he would have signed that contract. Probably.
Yeah.
But
interesting conversation.
Them not committing to him kind of made me feel like, okay, so he's going to get franchise tag. He's going to go the Kirk Cousins route. He's going to get franchise tag this year, franchise tag next year. So he's going to make about $60 million guaranteed.
North, yeah, it's beautiful.
And then they're not going to commit to him again, and he's going to be a free agent, and he will go somewhere else and get another contract. Like the free agency market for quarterbacks is different. You never used to be able to get a franchise quarterback on the free agency market. It's totally different now, and it's totally different because there's so many young quarterbacks like young Herb coming into the league and dominating right away. And it's changing things. People are moving off of quarterbacks much more quickly than they used to. You have far fewer years to get your shit together. Yeah. So the quarterback market, the quarterback market is different now. It never used to be that way. So I think that he will end up somewhere else and will end up getting a large contract. I don't know if it's going to be, I think it's going to end up being around what the Cowboys originally offered him. But at that point in his career, it's going to be a little different. So he's still going to get paid, still going to get a long-term contract. This is a super horrible injury, obviously, but he's going to come back and be fine. So I'm not worried about his health as far as if he's going to come back the same way he was or better. He's a dedicated guy. I'm sure he's going to rehab and be fine. He has the best doctors in the world. And, this is his life. So he's going to be fine as far as that goes. It's not like I think he's never going to be the same. But I didn't feel like he was going to be with the Cowboys long term when he got franchise tagged, and I feel the same way now. I think he'll be there next year. I don't think Andy Dalton is going to do anything dramatic. It's still Andy Dalton. We know what he is. Probably the best backup quarterback in the league.
He's not the backup anymore, though.
Well, exactly, yeah. So they're lucky to have him, obviously, in this situation. And I feel for Dak, love Dak, and I can't wait to see him back out there on the field. But that's more of the long-term situation. So I think it just cemented that. I think he's going to get franchise tag next year because why not? That's what they were going to do anyway, likely. Unless, I don't know, they may offer him the contract again that they offered him originally, and then he ends up taking that one now because of the injury. So that may happen as well, in which case I'll be totally wrong. But I think he's perfect for the Cowboys. Like, I like him for the Cowboys. I think he's a winner. I think obviously he does have limitations as a quarterback, but he's shown the ability to win in clutch situations. He's obviously a leader. You saw the reaction of the entire team when he went down.
Oh, my goodness.
The Cowboys' problem is not Dak Prescott on the offense. The Cowboys' problem is that abysmal defense. That defense is horrible. Like, it's dramatic. Everyone's talking about it. Like, it's a thing, okay? So they need to fix that defense. That's what they need to be worried about right now. Yeah. Figure out what's going on with the offensive line that they can't get Zeke going. And be ready for Dak when he's back next year. And they're going to win the division anyway. So they're going to win the division. The Eagles are terrible. The Giants and Washington are terrible. So if they can just keep it together, they're going to win this division easily, probably by a couple games. So I'm not concerned about them long term as far as that goes, as far as this season goes. But they have other major issues they need to fix. And keep in mind, the Cowboys, although it doesn't seem that way, are one of the teams that came into this COVID year with a new head coach. So clearly they have some things that they still need to move around. Like they were coming in as a disadvantage. They're the Dallas Cowboys, so they don't get that grace that some other teams get, like the Giants are going to get. Like there's for real, or even like the Buccaneers should get because Tom Brady's there. But it's Tom Brady, so he comes with expectations. We talked about this a lot. This is a very specific season. Teams that are coming in with a new head coach or a new quarterback are going to be up against it, and they have a new head coach. So this was not necessarily the year for the Cowboys anyway. Obviously, don't want to see anyone injured, and of course, not in that fashion. And it's Dak Prescott, who I'm a massive fan of. But I'm glad it's not as serious as it looked, and that he got his surgery right away, and he will be back in 6 months. Other injuries could take a year. So I'm glad that the Cowboys are still like, verbally supporting him, and I think it'll all work out. It's just like you just never want to see that. It sucked.
Yep. I think you summed it up perfectly. The only thing I can really add is two sort of industry-ish insider notes. One, Marcellus Wiley, who I work with on Speak for Yourself. It's a great show. You guys should check it out if you don't already. He said that he brought up Darren Sproles, who had a very similar injury early in his career, and yet we know of Darren Sproles as someone who was explosive all the way through and almost got more explosive towards the end. So that the good news is that it's available, that he can come back 100%, if not more, from this injury. The other thing is, the reason I wrote the Grizzly men having to pretend there was something in their eye when it happened is because I work at DirecTV for Red Zone, and I was in the room when it happened, and the air left. It's just a room in Culver City or wherever it is, but every dude in there, every person in there was down after that, Cowboys fan or otherwise, because it was just a tough thing to see. So I'm glad he's good, and the surgery happening quickly is also a great thing, because that means that they didn't have to like wait for some crazy swelling to go down or get 2 extra MRIs. They had a problem, they knew what it was, they fixed it, and he's home again. So
yeah, Dak's one of those dudes. It just everyone knows is a good dude, and not that like matters. Obviously, you don't want to see anyone injured, but he's like
Right.
Dak is special. So it's and especially because we all know he's betting on himself, and we all kind of root for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a scary thing to do. So yeah, it was rough. There's this. It's okay if you shed a tear. You ain't gotta lie.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, definitely got choked up.
Empathy is important in 2020.
You gotta let them.
Some of us are trying it out
in 2020. It's a crying year in 2020. I'd say. I think it's safe to say.
No one's judging it. Hey Donnie, what's going on high key, low key this week?
What's up? All right, high key, your Heat went further in the bubble playoffs than most fans expected, but still not as far as Miami fans wanted. You were 2 wins away from a ring. Low key, the East could end up being much tougher next year. Did the Heat just miss their best chance at a championship?
High key, no.
Good answer. I like that.
I don't know. That's the thing about these championship runs when it's a little unexpected. It's like, do we miss our window? Do we miss our opportunity? But like at the end of the day, we weren't supposed to win that championship. Like the Lakers were supposed to win.
This technically wasn't your window.
No, it's not. Because, well, first of all, it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And while I love this Heat team, I'm also not a lunatic. And it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I love Jimmy Butler. We lost Bam and Goran in game 1. So it's like, that's rough. And we had guts and fought back. And I'm really proud of this team in the way that we're trending. And Tyler Hero cemented himself as a star. Not a superstar yet, but a star. Bam was unbelievable when he was back. And Jimmy Butler had one of the greatest all-time finals performances ever. But kudos to LeBron James. Like, he's doing his thing in LA. And I cannot be mad at how that turned out. If we were going to lose to any team and any LeBron James team, I'm glad it was this one. For multiple reasons. I do think that the Heat will be back. Look, there's some rumblings out there that Giannis could be on his way down to South Beach. If that's the case, it's over for all y'all fools. Okay, it's a wrap. You have never seen me so obnoxious in your life, unless you saw me when I was in Miami when the Big Three were there.
A few years ago.
A problem, yes. But since then, I haven't been able to brag incessantly on a team that I am a fan of. And if Giannis comes there,
oof, let the bragging begin.
I'm going to be obnoxious. I'm going to make enemies. But I'm willing to do that because that's how I thrive. But the point is, there's some moves that can be made, and there's actually some free agent moves that are available out there that might just change the game. But I have been preaching about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving incessantly because KD is coming back, all right, and I love me some KD, and that team is going to be legit. They were legit in the bubble without anybody. They're going to get everyone back. So 2 superstars back. Spencer will be back. Like there's going to be a whole situation going on in Brooklyn. If they can make it all come together with Steve Nash, they are going to be a problem. And the West is not going to be the same either. Hello, the Warriors are going to be healthy again. The Clippers are going to come back with a new coach and a new ignited spirit to bring the championship to Clippers fans, which I can't even imagine being a Clippers fan right now. It must be awful. But yeah, so the NBA is going to look different entirely next year with all the injuries from big time stars that are going to be back. The draft, I mean, where's LaMelo Ball going to go? There's so much going on, but I'm really proud of this Heat team, and I got to give the flowers where it's necessary. I thought LeBron James was the MVP of the regular season this year. He was clearly the Finals MVP. The silliness about AD being the Finals MVP, please. He was obviously the Finals MVP for the Lakers. They won their 17th championship in the year that they lose Kobe Bryant in a crazy pandemic season in the bubble where like leadership and maturity were the number one thing. And like
it was a Hollywood ending.
It really was a Hollywood ending. They did everything they were supposed to do. I'm super proud of LeBron James. Face of the league, handled all of that adversity and being the face of a movement, being the voice of the NBA, who was at the forefront of, you know, the height of the social unrest in this country. So I thought it was a fitting end. I'm not a sore loser. We'll be back again, and it was an amazing season. I enjoyed every second of it, and the NBA just absolutely crushed it. Amazing work in the bubble. Could be more impressed. I mean, we watched history. Like, we went from having no sports at all to having too many sports for the human being to consume at days at a time. Yeah, it was overwhelming. Possible. And it was great basketball, great stories, just stars emerging. I mean, the Phoenix Suns. I could go on and on. But all in all, it was a success, and I'm not mad about it, and we'll be back.
All right, high key. When it comes to NFL divisions, the AFC North is looking like the exact opposite of the NFC East, meaning that they look good, with the exception of one team that still has some work to do. Low-key, that team I'm talking about isn't the Browns. They're 4-1 and just coming off of an impressive win over the Colts. I'm still not ready to jump on the bandwagon just yet, but is Kevin Stefanski, is he about to win Coach of the Year?
I think so.
It feels like it.
Right? It feels that way because if you're looking at the teams, like that award usually goes to a team that a little bit overachieves, and if they keep trending in the way that they are, I don't see how you don't. I mean, what were they last year? They were a dumpster fire, embarrassment, honey, and they're 4-1 for the first time since 1998. It's remarkable.
The culture's changed.
The culture's changed.
It looks different.
The culture's changed. And what's different? Kevin Stefanski. So I think that he definitely deserves all the credit for putting this back together. I mean, he is the significant change there. Baker was there last year. Jarvis was there last year. Odell was there last year. And that's not to give them credit for not buying in, because they clearly have. I mean, the whole environment there in Cleveland is different, but yeah, they put it all together. It seems like they're legit. People weren't really giving them credit for that Cowboys win. I did. So this Colts win, you gotta give them their flowers. Like, that Colts defense is legit. It was number one in almost every statistical category around the league, and they got a good win. Now look, I don't believe in Phillip Rivers. I didn't at the beginning of the season, so this isn't new. But we just all went along with this because it's like Phillip Rivers and he talks shit, so he's fun, doggone it. And look, like, I respect Phillip Rivers, but his time is done, and that's very obvious. And I think it's going to be a different situation next year with the Colts because there's going to be some movement at the free agency position for quarterbacks. But yeah, I think the Browns got a really legit win. They've got the Steelers this week. That's going to be a good game because that is a division rival, and they're both playing well. Steelers undefeated. Browns obviously with the one loss to the Ravens. So that's a big game, and I'm looking forward to it because, people are kind of questioning if the Steelers are really as good as they are appear because of the teams that they've played, which I don't know if that's entirely fair because, again, like, you got to beat the teams on your schedule. But I think it's something to pay attention to. So I'm looking forward to this game this weekend. But, yeah, I got to give the Browns credit, which kills me. But, not because I root against them. I don't root against the Browns. But I just, I want to see if they were legit. Like, are you really about that life? Because you seem like you're about that life, but are you really about that life? And that Colts win, to me, shows that they're really making changes there, which is good because they've got stars in that team and they need to thrive.
If they were in a different division, it would be a lot easier for me to jump on that bandwagon because everyone in that division is tough, minus the Bengals. But it sucks that they have to go against the AFC North like that.
There's a couple divisions like that though right now that are really playing really well. So
yeah, that's true.
It's big boy football.
Also, another note is Kevin Stefanski's last team has the opposite record of the Browns right now. They're 1-4. The common denominator there is Kevin Stefanski. So I mean, value.
How's she doing when you leave? Okay.
Don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Exactly. And I was very, 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 very wrong about Minnesota. I apologize, Packers fans. I apologize. Forgive me. I was wrong.
All right. High key, competitive sports or anything competitive really is all about the race to the top. Who's the best? Who's going to be the winner? Low key, you can't have a winner without a loser. And as a Detroit Lions fan since 1988, I've watched some of the most creative losing imaginable. But this season, the L's have been spread about aplenty for a bunch of teams. Joy, who's the worst of the worst this season?
It's tough. It really is hard to pick who is the worst.
A lot to pick from.
So let's go over the teams that are at the bottom of the league, right? So let's start with, obviously, we just talked about Minnesota. Minnesota, extra bad.
Real bad.
And there's really nothing that can change there because they should have won this weekend against Seattle. That was their opportunity, and that's a no-go. But both the Vikings and the Lions have one win, so they're not the worst of the worst. We are talking about the Falcons, who still do not have a win.
0-5.
0-5. We are talking about the Jets, who also do not have a win.
1-5.
We are talking about the Texans. Oh, I'm sorry, the Texans just got the win. That's right. So
they got to win. Yeah.
They got to win. Yes.
The Giants, the other New York team.
The Giants, yeah. So the Giants, the Falcons, the Jets. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, those are all the 0-4 teams. I am going to it's tough because, both of those New York teams are extra stinky. And the Falcons really shouldn't be losing, right? Like, they're in these games, they're putting up points, they have a legit franchise quarterback who's a former MVP not that long ago.
Two really good receivers. Todd Gurley. That offense looks really good.
It's
on paper.
It's tough. And then you have the New York Giants. It's like you lost Saquon Barkley. Is it really all Daniel Jones' fault? You have a new coach this year. So, you got to give them a little bit of grace, even though they're extra stinky. So I think of the worst of the worst. And the Bengals haven't gotten a win. Oh, yeah, the Bengals did get a win.
They got a win and a tie. So that's a weird spot to be in. They're 1-3-1.
Yeah. Yeah, Bengals don't count. If you have a win, you don't count. So we're going to stick with all the absolute losers. So out of all the absolute losers, I think I have to pick the Jets because I know Le'Veon Bell's been hurt, but Saquon's out for the year. And they have a new coach, so I'll give them grace. The Falcons are actually not this bad. They just can't figure out how to win. So I think it's really just it's for that reason between the Falcons and the Jets, and I'm going to go with the Jets because the Jets have Sam Darnold. They're returning Adam Gase. They had some pieces. Gase was trying up and down to prove that it's not everybody that's complaining about him. It's it's not him. Even though everyone's complaining about him, it's really everybody else. Well, it kind of seems like it's you, fam. And the situation in New York is a disaster. Now here's really where it gets tricky because obviously one of these super stinky teams is going to be picking at the top of the NFL draft, and one of them is going to get an opportunity to take a swing at Trevor Lawrence. And while part of me is like, yeah, you really can't pass up Trevor Lawrence if you are the New York Jets, even with Sam Darnold. Like, I think you could trade Sam Darnold. He could wind up in Indianapolis. That would be a good situation for him. Colin was talking about that today. It's kind of intriguing because I don't know how you trade back, even though that's probably what the Jets should do. I don't know how you trade back and pass on Trevor Lawrence in New York. But if you take Trevor Lawrence in New York, you're still in the same super stinky situation that you were in before. Only you're probably going to have a new head coach because we're all assuming Adam Gase is going to get fired. So, I think it's kind of a hopeless situation for the Jets either way. It'll be fun, obviously, to have Trevor Lawrence in New York, but they have to completely retool that entire organization. They're like the Bengals. Like, they are going to get the top pick, but they're going to end up with Trevor Lawrence. The only good thing is that it's Trevor Lawrence in New York City. So, I think I got to pick the Jets. They're extra, extra stinky. You get the stinkiest of the stinky awards, guys.
All right, we'll circle back at the end of the season and see if that smell is still coming out of New York like that.
Still wafting.
Yeah. All right. High key, the reigning champs of the NFC have been battered and bruised, but entering week 5 with their starting quarterback returning and a home game against the Fitzmagic-led Dolphins, things were kind of looking up. Low-key, Jimmy G was benched after an awful first half as the Niners were blown out 43-17. Joy, is this the beginning of the end of Garoppolo in the Bay?
It's feeling that way, isn't it? I don't think so, though. I think he's, well, look, right? Like, everything eventually comes to an end, but I don't think it's the start of the end now. I think they're just going through a down year. I don't think they're going to bail on Jimmy Garoppolo just yet. He has a high ankle sprain. Yeah. It looked like some of his throws were affected by that, not just, the dominant Dolphins defense. And listen, I love the Dolphins, but like, come on. It was a great game for the Dolphins. Fitzpatrick played great. Let's just chalk it up to like a really good game by the Dolphins, and the 49ers are missing a lot of pieces and Jimmy Garoppolo is injured. So I don't think they've taken a dramatic step down from last year, a Super Bowl hangover, whatever you want to call it. It's just a down year. Like, that's what it is. Kyle Shanahan is still a good coach. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is still a franchise quarterback. But Jimmy Garoppolo was never this all-time, transgenerational talents. Like, he's Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a good quarterback, a starting quarterback, a quarterback who could lead your team to the Super Bowl, clearly, because he did. Now, he had a lot of pieces, an amazing defense, an incredible running game, and it's nice when you have all that stuff going on. So what happens when things are going bad? That's really like the test of if you have a superstar that can carry you or not. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a superstar, but I don't think we're learning anything through this process. So I think he's still injured. I think they're going to give him a little bit more time, as they should. Also, what the hell else are you going to do? So you've committed to him at this point. So I think in next year, when everything is back to normal and you've got Bosa back and got everyone kind of settled down, if he's still looking like this, that will be the beginning of the end. But I think you get a grace period. Look, everyone freaked out about Goff, Sean McVay's not smart. Blah, the running game. Blah. Rams look fine. Okay, sometimes you just have a down year. There's no need to panic and freak out. But I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo was ever really that guy to that level that anyone should be surprised that his low is really low. And he's also not 100%. So I don't think it's panic time yet.
Yeah, this feels like an asterisk kind of a year for the 49ers, especially. It's an asterisk year for everyone because of COVID, but especially for the 49ers with the injuries that they had to deal with. It's been rough.
Yeah, it's troublesome at best.
High key, after being named the permanent starter of the Chargers, rookie Justin Herbert looked more than ready for the job despite coming up short against the Saints on Monday night. Low key, young Herbert's building himself a legit case for rookie of the year. Again, despite all the losing, though.
Young Herb looks spicy out there, didn't he?
Yeah, he does. He looks ready.
I like young Herb. He got a little, he doesn't have any panic in him. I love that about him.
So calm, exactly.
I liked what I saw from him in the bowl game. I've been consistent with that. I wasn't sure, how quickly he was going to adapt to the NFL, but he is just shark-born swimming into this NFL situation. Yep. I mean, to find out 5 minutes before you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs that you're starting because some doctor took Tyrod Taylor out, which is super unfortunate. But he looks amazing. It's the worst for Tyrod. I hate it for Tyrod. But young Herb looks amazing. We're calling him that now. Young Herb looks amazing. Young Herb. And, being a Herb is really not a good thing, but young Herb.
We'll flip that, yeah.
We'll flip it.
Young Herb together. Yeah, young in front of it.
Young Herb makes it better. I like him, man. He's good. He is a nice arm. He is not scared to throw that shit the entire length of the football field. He's got great receivers and talent around him. They can't figure out how to get over this curse. I suggested on the show today, I'm going to say it again. I feel like just get you some sage. You know what I'm saying? You can get it at Whole Foods. You can order it on Amazon for real. And just have a couple, well-intentioned, employees, they got their spirit right, walk around the facility and get whatever this stank is on, especially on your kickers. You might want to put the kickers in a salt bath. Okay, you guys.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, you knew when that Twitter really rarely agrees on everything, and one thing Twitter can all agree on is that the Chargers are cursed. No one argues it.
It happened. You need to find out who cursed them, though. That's the thing. Where did the curse come from? Who did it?
I don't know, but that's some powerful shit. Okay, it's spooky season. It's spooky season. We need to get to the bottom of the Chargers curse. All right, where is Nancy Drew? It's really time. Like, sage that shit, do some Reiki. Okay, this is California. We got healers on every corner. You can go down to Venice right now and get you Charger crystals and this full moon, whatever you need to do. But it's time. Like, we gotta get this curse off. But I like young Herb. I like what the Chargers are doing, and he is making it very difficult for us Dolphins fans to sit around and not see Tua. I will tell you that. Like, even with Fitz playing great, I'm like, all right, let's see what we got.
You're impatient.
Thanks so much for joining us this week. Appreciate your time. Make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you follow us on all our social media pages at Maybe I'm Crazy Pod and myself at Joy Taylor Talks. And join us next week. Make sure you listen on any of the podcast platforms that you like. We have it on iHeartMedia, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and of course on YouTube. Thanks so much. Have a great week.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.